When we take this down and start looking at paths to victory, it's still the same as it was, even if the numbers have slightly changed, with Nevada leading blue here, 232 Dems, 219 GOP. What I mean is, if Harris takes the blue wall states, 10 votes in Wisconsin, 15 electoral votes in Michigan, she's on the precipice, and with the 19 in Pennsylvania, again, the big three would put her over the edge. The same, for Trump in terms of paths to victory. If North Carolina and Georgia 16 apiece are red, he gets to 251, and 251 plus 19 if you add in Pennsylvania, that's still his best bet to get to the 270 needed to win. So for the time being, 6 swing states, Nevada right on the precipice of making it 7 again. We start 232, we go 219. Let's bring in the man with the crystal ball for a little bit more on this. Larry Sabato is director of the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. That's our map. Yours, I think we have your crystal ball. Similar, right? I mean, I think you probably have Nevada still as a toss-up, but that's about where we've been and where we are. How do you see it, Larry?
If I were forced to guess today, and everybody's guessing because it is so close, and every time we think it's going to move, it doesn't move. The needle is stuck. But I would say Nevada leans to Harris, and that would be true for any Democrat. Usually Nevada in the end will tilt Democratic. I would say Georgia is tilting to Trump.
Okay.
North Carolina, amazingly, is still a toss-up. Whether it will be at the end, I don't know. Michigan's probably the best shot Harris has in the blue wall. I wouldn't want to pick on Pennsylvania, and anybody who believes Wisconsin polls needs to get their head examined, because the polls in Wisconsin are just constantly wrong.
I want to talk to you about polls in general, and we've had so much about this Trump outperformance in polls last time versus this, in other elections, whether that'll still stand. Quick thought though on a specific demographic group, because NBC had these numbers on Latino voters, which I thought were interesting, because Harris is leading. You would expect that plus 14, but you'd expect a Democrat to be up by more than that, right? Because they won this group by 44 points in 2012, 38 in 2016, and 33 in 2020. That's not enough, is it?
Well, it's not where it should be for a Democrat, that's for sure. But you know what lends credibility to those numbers? And as you know, I'm a poll skeptic, but what lends credibility to those NBC numbers is that essentially it's the same methodology. And over 4 separate presidential elections, you see the percentage for Democrats among Latinos declining every 4 years. And that's because, I think, of the demographic integration of Latinos into the economy and the political society, social society as well. And when you put it all together, it just means that if we're not a melting pot, we're at least kind of warm at the edges. And that's a good thing. You want to see that over time for any of these groups, any way that we divide the electorate.
Interesting. Now, poll skeptic, you say. All right. This is a headline from The Hill today. Pollsters, don't be so sure Trump will outperform our surveys, because that's what people have been looking at in the past. Well, he always does a little bit better than the polls. And Chris Jackson, senior VP at Ipsos, said that the polling industry in 2020 and before looked to reliable benchmarks for sampling and weighting these surveys, usually based on census data, to ensure the pollsters had a representative sample. The question is, what's going on this time? And will Trump outperform? They're saying, nah, maybe not. Maybe they've made the corrections. How do you view it?
Well, we'll know after the election.
That's an easy one.
We won't know until then. Seriously, Connell, because and Chris Jackson's very good, but they have been experimenting since the big goof in 2016, and I say the goof for all of us who were in the business of prognosticating. So they have made changes. Of course, they've made changes in each successive election, including the midterm elections, and they're still off. They're still off in certain key races in certain key states. I think they are getting better over time, but who's to say? And we'll find out, as I say, once we finally know who won, whatever month that is.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.